So how about that Newark Arts Latin Band? So welcome everybody. There are going to be people coming in. I know that at 6:30 classes are out, and so there's going to be some more people filtering in as time goes on. But I want to welcome everyone to the Joseph A. Unanue Latino Institute at Seton Hall University, and welcome to the students. I also want to welcome the people from the community who came to support Lieutenant Colonel Marisol Chalas, the first Latina Black Hawk helicopter pilot in the nation for the National Guard. And so with that, I want to be able to obviously recognize our team of students, to Christina, who's also here. She's the assistant director of the Joseph A. Unanue Latino Institute, to Eddie in the back. He's our graduate assistant, as well as a few other special guests that we have today. We have the Patterson ROTC Color Guard, who you will be seeing in a few moments. And we also have the Newark Arts High School Latin Band, who you have been enjoying for the last half hour or so. It's hard to believe that this band is how old? How old is your youngest member? 14 to 18 years old. Okay. They are nationally renowned for obvious reasons. And they are also going to be the openers for our gala on October 17th. And so I'm going to give you some fun facts, right? Here's So Mr. Fairfax, he's actually one of our honorees. He's the Educator of the Year, recognized by the Joseph A. Unanue Latino Institute. He's an equestrian, and if you've ever been to a Rutgers football game, this is your Scarlet Knight who charges the stadium on horseback. Yes. Is it? Okay. Shh. All right. And so Mr. Fairfax is literally the mentor to a lot of people that you might know who are performers, Grammy nominees, Hollywood stars, and I personally have been privileged to meet a few of them, and they have nothing but wonderful things to say, including the members of this band. So that's the reason that, again, he gets the first initial award for the Educator of the Year. So I'm very, very happy that he's here. Thank you. So without further ado, I want to start the program off first with the Star-Spangled Banner and the Patterson ROTC Color Guard before we start with the initial comments. Okay.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streamed, and the rockets rang glare, the bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner or the land of the free and the home of the brave. Mira mi bandera, land of the free and of the brave. This land is your land, this land is my land. To California, to New York Island. Mira, se mueve mi bandera, land of the free and of the brave. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave. Mira, mueve mi bandera, land of the brave and of the free. This land is your land, this land is my land. To California, to Northern Island. Mira, mueve mi bandera, land of the free and of the brave.
You gonna play another one? Do you gonna play? Do you want to hear them play one more? One more? All right. All right. Here we go. This one's not going to be patriotic.
Listen to my rhythm. I gotta go, go, go with my baby. Listen to my rhythm. I gotta go, go, go with my baby. Oye, ¿cómo va? Mi ritmo bueno pa' gozar. Mulata, oye, ¿cómo va? Mi ritmo bueno pa' gozar. Mulata, si tú no sabes bailar, si estás peleado con el son, sigue marcando el paso, que te aseguro que es lo más sabrosón. Voy pa' la rumba, la rumba, la rumba, porque me llama, me llama, me llama. Y necesito que suene el coro para que suene como va. Y lo repito, oye, ¿cómo va? bueno pa' gozar. Mulata, oye cómo va. Mi ritmo bueno pa' gozar. Mulata, esto se pone caliente, esto se baila apretado. 4 pasitas pa' frente y un meneíto de lado. Voy pa' la rumba, la rumba, la rumba. Tienen la clave, la clave, la clave. Y hay que meterle candela al jaro para que suene así como va. Te lo repito, oye cómo va. Mi ritmo bueno pa' gozar. Mulata, oye cómo va. Mi ritmo bueno pa' gozar. Mulata. Oye cómo va. Oye cómo va. Oye cómo va. Oye cómo va. Ya llegó el negro Vicente y un bodeguero de lado. Que venga todo mi gente, para que goce el tumbao. Voy pa' la rumba, la rumba, la rumba. Tiene la clave, la clave, la clave. Y hay que meterle candela al jaro para que suene así como va, bien suavecito, oye cómo va. Mi ritmo bueno pa' gozar. Mulata, oye cómo va. Mi ritmo bueno pa' gozar. Mulata.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So, what do you guys think? Oye, el Instituto Latino tiene sabor. Y they're on, man, I don't even have any words for you. You are just excellent. Thank you so much. I want to begin by first saying that, we all are part of this American flag, right? And what makes that flag beautiful is the tapestry of different people that fall under it. And so today I want to thank all service members. I want to thank all branches of the military, and to obviously honor everyone and what we do. And here we are to really honor also Lieutenant Colonel Marisol Chalas, because it takes guts to be the first, okay? It took guts for the Wright brothers to say, what, we're gonna try to fly. It took guts for Amelia Earhart to say, I'm gonna fly around the world. And when you're the first one and nobody looks like you, or maybe you have your own personal barriers that maybe you have in your own head, to sit there and say, I am going to move beyond those barriers, I'm gonna challenge those barriers, and I'm going to do it anyway. It's something that really inspires others to really follow after you, and to dream that the sky's the limit. So today we're here to honor Lieutenant Marisol Chalas, who did exactly that. Okay, and if everybody could please welcome Lieutenant Colonel Marisol Chalas up to the front. Actually, before I begin, I want to say that Lieutenant Colonel Marisol Chalas is the first Latina National Guard Black Hawk helicopter pilot. She was born and raised in the Dominican Republic. She moved to Massachusetts in 1982, where she enlisted in the Army National Guard during high school and was commissioned as an aviation officer in 2001. She became first in her class at Fort Rucker Army Aviation School and earned more than a dozen awards, including the Senior Aviator Badge. As she was quoted by the Smithsonian, you are looking at an actual Smithsonian exhibit walking, okay? She is in the Museum of National Air and Space, that when she was in flight school, there were over 3,000 pilots that flew Black Hawks. Out of those, there were only 120 females, and there were no Latinos or Latinas flying them until there was her, okay? So let's start. Actually, I need a microphone. And you will be able to ask questions if you'd like afterwards. Okay, so welcome. Thank you. Thank you. Actually, here, I'm pretty loud.
Okay.
So, everybody can hear me, right? Yes. Okay, so, Lieutenant Colonel, first of all, thank you very much for being here with us. Can you share with us your journey into the military and what inspired you to pursue this path?
So first and foremost, it is an honor for me to be here to speak. And before I even answer your question, Dr. Tark, we have to give a second hand to not only the color guard, but that amazing band. Good on you guys. Well done. We're looking at the future of our nation, so well done, young ladies and gentlemen. As for your question, Dr. Tark, like you said, I was born in the Dominican Republic. My dad, Napoleon Chalas, and my mom, Dulce Matos, who happens to be here, they made a sacrifice in the 80s, late 70s and 80s, to move to the U.S. to give my sisters and I the opportunity to follow the American dream that everybody thinks of. Along those lines, we didn't see our parents for 2 years because they came here before us. We stayed with my maternal grandmother, and then we reunited with my parents. They always said as long as we stayed out of trouble, they were happy. We came from humble beginnings. So I didn't have plans to go to college. My plan was to join the military, which I did the summer before my senior year in high school. So I had no plan. I joined the Massachusetts National Guard, but during my senior year, my physics teacher, Mr. Lenahan, see how important teachers are, encouraged me to become an engineer. And because of that, I went to the Massachusetts Maritime Academy and became a marine engineer. And here I have, because my mom is here, but I also have two classmates from class of 1996, another fellow engineer, Jen Foley. She's Jen Foley Santis, but she's still Jen Foley to me. We only had 3 female engineers out of our class, and we also have Marina Gaglias, who is marine transportation and went on to become a lawyer. So got to give credit where credit is due. So fast forward, graduated from Mass Maritime. While I was at Mass Maritime, I had a Marine Corps captain. He saw me exercising somewhere, and he started coaching me. He's like, hey, have you thought of aviation? I had never thought of aviation. So it looks like my life has always been about coincidence, or somebody looking after me or seeing my potential and encouraging me to follow that dream. So after, he took me on a flight, and I actually turned it down. I turned it down because, again, I came from humble beginnings. I went to school. It took me 5 years instead of 4, so it is okay to have setbacks. You just learn from them. But I graduated from Mass Maritime, got a job with General Electric Energy in San Jose. Once I got there, I reported to my new Army unit, and the commander at that time, her name at the time was Captain Diana Cron, said, why aren't you an officer? So because of her, I started pursuing an officer career. And then it dawned on me, I'm like, I could have been a pilot, finally. So I started pursuing opportunities in California. That's the first time I lived in California, and this was '96. And I was told you never get in. Well, as life has it, General Electric moved me to the state of Georgia, and Captain Diana Cron, who retired as Colonel Cron, happened to have work in Georgia. And she said, Marisol, I can get you an interview. It's up to you to do what is needed for you to get in, to give a good interview. But she actually was able to get me an interview. I passed the test. I went to Officer Candidate School for 18 months where I worked for General Electric. And lo and behold, I branched in 2001 as a second lieutenant in the Georgia Army National Guard as an aviator. Long answer to your question, but that's how I got there.
You actually impressed me because I had lunch with her today. And what did you do at General Electric?
So I worked for GE Nuclear Energy as a nuclear engineer. Jen worked for for GE as a steam turbine engineer.
So she's a nuclear engineer. Yeah, exactly. That's what I said too. As I'm eating my sandwich. I was sitting up and my jaw dropped. A Latina nuclear engineer. How many of those exist? So again, what challenges did you face and how did you overcome them?
So I would be lying to you if I said I didn't face challenges. I faced challenges early on. When I moved to the U.S., I didn't speak English, so I had to learn how to speak English. In college, I had some challenges too. It wasn't as diverse as it is today. When I went to fly school, I was told by one of the instructors that it takes female a lot longer to learn how to fly. My first aviation unit wasn't very friendly, especially when I was in Iraq. But I shared all that with everyone because what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And one of my favorite sayings is by Mother Teresa. I know that God will not give me more than I can handle. I just wish he didn't trust me so much. And it's very true because sometimes I'm like, come on, God. But so I've learned a lot from my challenges. I will not say it was easy. It's called life, right? You deal with challenges. But what really matters is how you react to those challenges, how do you react to those adversity, to things that you don't have planned in life, and how do you pick yourself up? Cry if you have to, but you pick yourself up, and you know what? When somebody tells you no, you work harder at it, and you just continue.
So how have your leadership skills evolved throughout your time in the military?
Well, let's see. I've been in the military 34 years, so a lot longer than a lot of the young kids are here. So I can tell you I started as an enlisted personnel, then I went on to be an officer. With that comes maturity. I have made mistakes. I will own them. But as you grow, you develop, you learn not only from your own mistakes, you learn from great leaders. You learn from some great leaders. You can learn from some leaders you don't want to follow. But I think for me, I've learned that one, I earned where I am today. Because when I was first coming through the ranks, especially as a second lieutenant, as a pilot, I had a lot of insecurities. And because I didn't get the support that I needed at the time, I thought it was me. So your maturity, you start to learn. You learn your craft. They can't take that away from you. And you just start to learn, rely on mentors. I've had a lot of mentors, and I still lean on mentors. And you do the best you can, and you got to learn how to forgive yourself when you make a mistake. And then also, obviously, mentoring. You have to mentor. You have to mentor the new generation. And again, don't be afraid to say you're wrong and apologize when you are wrong.
Okay, wonderful. So what do you believe are the key elements of effective leadership?
Stay humble. Listen. Listen. So that's one that we tend to forget. Especially in the military, we have traditions, and I respect those traditions. But we're also in a new generation, so we have the younger generation that can give us input that we may not have thought about. So being humble, listening, being transparent, being truthful, and admitting when you make mistakes.
So you basically took up these massive helicopters, right? Probably during stressful situations. How do you manage to stay calm and composed during crisis or intense situations?
So one thing the Army does that I believe every armed forces and any challenging job does, whether it's a doctor, a firefighter, police, you train as you fight. So you always train for the worst case scenario. So when that worst case scenario happens, you already know. You know how to do your procedures, your emergency procedures. You know what you have to do. You have a relationship and trust, especially for a Black Hawk, because it's at least 3 personnel to 4 in the aircraft. You have 2 pilots and 1 or 2 crew chiefs, depending on the mission. But you have a crew that you trust, that if there's an emergency, each person knows what their duties are.
Wow, okay. So what advice, so we have a lot of students in the room, right? And we have some that are, future military, some who are currently in the military. We have, again, a whole Latin arts band who might consider the military after today. What advice would you give them about a career in the military?
So I will say this, I have absolutely no regret of joining the military. Like I said, it hasn't always been easy, but the awards outdo the less pleasant moments. I was able to attend college undergrad because of joining the National Guard. I was able to buy my mom's first house because of the National Guard. As I continue to progress, I have 3 other masters. 2 of them, the military has helped me get that master, and the other one, because of a fellowship through the military, I was able to get that master. So, and there are many, many opportunities. And not only those, you can choose to stay 3 years, you can choose to stay 9 years, you can choose to make it a lifetime. But any career that you learn in the military, that's transferable to the civilian world. So like I said, if it's not for you, that's okay, because the military is not for everybody. But I would say if you're even thinking about it and you're just curious about it, join. If it's not for you, that's okay. But at least you gave it a try.
So here's a question. How do they become pilots?
Well, that's pretty simple. First, it depends, and again, although I'm Army, I love the Army, I've been in 34 years, but every branch has aviation. The Navy has it, the Marine Corps has it, well, not every branch, because now we have Space Force, so let me retract that. But the Army, the Air Force, the Navy, Marine Corps, they all have aviation. If you are interested in becoming an aviator, you don't have to be the best at math or science. Please remember that. You just have to be dedicated and know that you're gonna have to study a little harder, but it's doable. You can reach out to one of the recruiters because there are some tests that you will have to take. They're almost aptitude tests to see if you are able to follow that career. Just like if you wanna be a doctor or a nurse, like for me, I could never be a doctor. I have a very sensitive stomach, so I couldn't do it, I'll tell you that. But you take an aptitude test, you talk to recruiters, you can talk to me. I've always given my number out, and I mean that. I'm on social media. If you have any questions about whether it's aviation or any other field in the military, please reach out. But that would be the basic step, is taking the aptitude test to see if you qualify.
And she really does mean that. Like, I found her on LinkedIn and I sent her a message, and that's how we're connected. Like, I basically said, you know, will you come to Seton Hall? And she says, sure, I'll come. It would be an honor to speak to your students. And so for those of you that are looking into a career in aviation, she also connected me with the Dominican Pilots Association. Did you know that there was a Dominican Pilots Association? Yeah, so literally it was me and like 30-something Dominican pilots on Zoom. And they were all there, and yes, and they're going to be coming to Seton Hall University in the future at some point to talk about aviation with our students and careers in aviation. So I think that's going to be, you know, another door that gets opened for, you know, your minds if you ever want to go into that career. So thank you. So how, you know, have you had any mentors along the way? Like who are your biggest mentors? Why? What stories do you have about them?
So yes, and I still, every day, I get a new mentor. Never forget, mentors are there for you. They're doing it because they want to. So I mentioned Mr. Linehan. He was my physics teacher in high school. Miss Harrington, who was my French teacher. Colonel Diana Cron, who retired as a colonel. She's the one that encouraged me to become an officer. I have other more recent mentors that still continue. Even to this day, I'm deciding, hey, what's next? I've been in 34 years. I just got selected for colonel, so I do have to do another 3 years, but what's after that? So I think being a mentor is very important. And one advice, I know you didn't ask me this question, but one advice I would give to all the young kids in this room, if there's somebody that you want to be and you know somebody, ask them, because you'll be surprised how often a mentor will be willing to say yes if you ask them. We're never too busy to reach back and bring the next generation forward.
Yeah, so the Latino Institute, we are an all-inclusive institute where we're open to all students at Seton Hall who want to get immersed in Latino culture, history, language. And so I was so surprised when the lieutenant colonel said to me that she would be part of our Vanguard group. And the Vanguards are people who are nationally or internationally famous for being experts in their field. And so what that means for all of you that are students is that, you know, for example, you know, hey, Dr. Tark, hey, Lori, I want to be an aviator one day. You know, I don't know the first thing about doing that, what happens at the Latino Institute for all Seton Hall students who engage with us is we can actually pick up the phone and say, hey, Lieutenant Colonel Marisol Chalas, we have a student over here who wants to be an aviator one day and they have no clue about what they're doing. Will you mentor them? And then she'll say,
Of course I will.
and then I will say, hold the phone, student. I'm going to put you on the line with the first Latina Black Hawk helicopter pilot of the United States of America, who's in the National Guard, right?
The guy.
Yeah, there's that caveat. So that's the experience that you get here, okay? And again, our vanguards, you know, you'll see that she is listed amongst them. There's about 10 to 15 of them that are engaging with us from all different careers, you know, from anchors in the news to you know, the number one voice in soccer to Black Hawk helicopter pilots. So she's absolutely right about mentors and you know, having them engage with you. So you know, is there somebody specifically that you remember?
The one that comes on top of my head right away, other than obviously my parents, because they taught me from when I was young to work hard. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, I would never been here, and the sacrifices they made. So my mom, who's in the room again, Dulce, and my dad, they always serve as role model and always encourage us. As long as you work hard, you will succeed. Colonel Diana Cron, like I said, I still stay in touch with her. Because of her, I became an officer. And then I have more recent generals that are still my mentor. I just don't want to say the generals because one, they're still active, and I don't want to say like, hey, I know a general. Yeah. But no, Colonel Diana Cron for sure. She's definitely made a big impact in my life.
Okay. So what practices or routines do you engage in to take care of your mental and physical well-being while in such a high-stress profession?
I do a lot of meditation. I listen to a lot of meditation. I have 2 dogs. Those are my babies, 2 furry babies, Max and Bella, and I do take a lot of walks with them. So along the same lines, what I will say is, in order to deal with stress, in order to ensure that you can be a good leader, you have to stay mentally healthy and spiritual. Mental health and spiritually fit.
So when you're saying spiritually fit, like what kind of?
So for spiritually, you don't have to go to church. So it's a different, right? I did go to Mass with Mom. Grew up Catholic 2 weeks ago. But it's whatever works for you, whether it's meditation, whether it's believing in whatever higher, whatever works for you, that you can find that inner peace.
So you know how they talk about filling your cup, okay? What kind of, like walking, you know, meditation, what other things do you do to fill your cup?
I'm a very positive person, no matter what. No matter what happens, I always look at my blessings versus the setbacks.
So what do you think about gratitude?
I'm a very grateful person. Every morning I wake up and I say, thank you, God. And I do. That I mean. And I think that's why it keeps me positive, because I'm grateful for where I've been. I'm even grateful for the setbacks that I had, because I think it's made me a stronger person, a better person, and a better leader. So yes, being grateful is, I would say, my number one.
So if we're talking about the next generation of military leaders, you know, what do you hope that they'll accomplish that may be different from your generation?
I hope that they continue to have a voice, that they continue. It's okay. We have a voice, right? Yes, there are norms and policies and standards that we follow in the military, but you can still have a voice. I encourage them not to give up. Like I said, it's not, the military sometimes has its challenges, just like any other job, any other corporation. But I would say pursue the dream, be a natural leader, and don't give up.
So, you know, again, they face different global challenges than we did when we were growing up. You know, what advice would you give them about facing those global challenges?
So, as a whole, we are a global entity. So that means, yes, I had different challenges when I joined the military, but we have to always work well with our allies and work well with other people. I hope that the military continues to be a diverse entity, and that as you join the military, if you have somebody to your right who has a different nationality than you, that you never been around, get to know that person, because we have so much more similarities than we have differences.
So let me ask you, so what is your favorite military memory? Like, and what is, like, okay, I'm putting down the questions. What, so what is it like, and this is just my own personal question, all right? What is it like to be able to see your face at the Smithsonian? Like, seriously, like to be able to walk down and see your picture sitting there and know that you're part of, I think it's the Latino Gallery, Air and Space. I mean, they've got you listed everywhere. Like, what does that feel like?
It still feels very surreal. It really does. And that goes back to staying humble. It shows the hard work pays off. I had no idea that they were going to do that. Somebody actually initially sent it to me. Just like even today, I was telling someone the U.S. Embassy in the Dominican Republic put up a picture of me in honor of Women's History Month. So it's humbling, but it also reminds you that if you work hard, you can accomplish things beyond your dreams.
So have you ever met some, like, a young woman or a young girl who eventually ended up becoming a pilot because of you?
So funny you asked that. There's a young lady named Carla Fevrier. She's actually in the Dominican Republic, but apparently she saw an article about me being first Latina pilot in the Guard, and she told her dad, who happens to be a general in the Dominican Republic, that because of me, she was going to attend the Air Force Academy in the Dominican Republic and become a pilot. So she just graduated from the academy, and now she's off to go to flight school.
And why is it so important, like, to have people like you, go ahead.
It's very important because you cannot be what you cannot see. How can you aspire to be a pilot if I don't see a Latina pilot or a Latino pilot? It doesn't have to be Latina or just a minority. So I think, and the reason why I do this, I think it's my duty to pay it forward, to give people hope, and to remind them that, hey, yes, you can do it. It may not be easy, but if you apply yourself, you can accomplish whatever you dream of.
Do you have, like, a favorite military memory?
I sure do.
All right, go ahead.
So I actually had the privilege while I was with not the Massachusetts National Guard, with the Georgia National Guard, to serve in the country that I was born in Dominican Republic. So I actually was able to serve there with a humanitarian mission called Nuevo Horizontes, where I would not only go fly over the city that I was born in Bani, but I would go out with the American doctors to provide basic medical support to everyone around. So to me, of all the missions I've done or all the assignments I had in my lifetime, that to me is the most rewarding.
Do you know how many assignments or missions you've been on?
I do not know.
I've
been in 34 years, so.
Oh, God, okay. So that's a lot, yeah. If we were to look back, when you first got to this country, right? Your trajectory is probably similar to a lot of our students who are first generation, who had to learn English as well. What kind of challenges and how did you get through those?
I think, for us, me moving here at the age of 9 was a little easier than it was for my parents. I think when you're older, they already had kids, they had to leave the family behind. But some of the challenges that I had in particular was we moved to Massachusetts December 21st in the middle of winter. I came from the Dominican Republic. Where it's sunny, it gets dark late. And I always remember in the Dominican Republic, we were always, Sunday was a family day. You go eat pizza, do something. You always went to the park. Here, my parents were more protective of us, and rightly so. But I felt like we were cooped up more in the apartment, and I understand why they did it now. Back then, I was like, why can't we just go out? So to me, that was a little challenging. I went to a bilingual school I moved here in the middle of 4th year, so I went to a bilingual school the second half of my 4th year, but my teacher recommended that I go to an English school within 6 months, and there it was very challenging. I felt isolated because I didn't really understand the culture. I was still learning English, and obviously being young, you're still self-conscious because I'm still learning English, and I don't know all the right words, and I don't know how to say them, even to today. Just remember that. there's a lot of words I still have a hard time saying, so regardless. So if I had to go back and tell the young kids, it's like, don't sweat the small stuff, really. We all have an accent. We're all an immigrant at one time or another. Whether I have an accent from Boston, parked a car in the Harvard Yard, or I lived in Georgia for 10 years, yonder, fixing to. But we all, right? We all have an accent, so don't let that hold you back. And then, like I said, learn how to rely on people, because you'll be surprised how much people want to help when you ask them for help.
That's true. So I think I have a couple more questions for you, and then I'm going to give it over to some people that I know are dying to ask some questions already. I see their faces, and they're just hopping out of their seat. What's next for you?
So what's next? And first, I do want to clarify something, because I like giving credit where credit is due. I am the first Latina Black Hawk pilot in the National Guard, but I know that there have been other Black Hawk pilots, Latina, but possibly in the active duty military. So National Guard is different than active duty, so I just want to make sure we got that straight. What's next for me? I was selected to colonel, to full bird. I'll be pinning sometime soon. Once I do that, I will continue to enjoy the military for at least 3 years, and then after that, we'll see what's in store.
That's wonderful. So for imposter syndrome, okay? So again, like if you're talking about imposter syndrome in the, being a pilot, being a nuclear engineer, these are very male-dominated fields. Again, I think the figure that you said was 2,000 or 3,000?
It was 3,120 female pilots. Now, there were other Latinas and females, but 120 of the 3,000.
Oh, okay, so 120 were female and the rest were all male.
For Blackhawks.
Okay, Blackhawks. So out of that group, okay, again, I can't imagine like that you would not, like that's a universal thing that a lot of people feel is imposter syndrome sometimes. Like, did you feel that? And how did you get through it? And how did you get to that place mentally where you could say, I earned this?
So again, I didn't choose to go to flight school because I thought I was going to be the first Latina in the Guard. I had no idea. Mm-hmm. I just chose it because the Marine Corps said, hey, you could have the opportunity. And then I had turned it down. And when I moved to California, I was like, oh, this is a great opportunity. So I pursued it. So I'll say that. I didn't pursue to be only one of 3 Marine engineers to graduate from the Massachusetts Maritime Academy. I chose to go there. I just didn't know we had I knew we had few females. I just didn't know that we had such few females that were pursuing marine engineer. So I will tell you this. I know being in a field that is typical, that was typically male, you learn, like I said, you learn very quickly how to stand your ground. You learn how to be a subject matter expert in your field because they cannot take away your learning. They can give you a test, but if you know your knowledge, they can kind of mess with you on other things, but they can't take that away. So I would say it was challenging in the beginning, but I just learned that, hey, you build confidence, you learn your trade, and you keep on trucking. And you rely on your mentors and people you trust so that when you're having that bad day, you call them and they'll remind you why you're there to begin with.
Perfect. So I think that's all. So I trying to think if there's any other questions that I might have. I think you've answered everything I possibly could ask you. Now, I want to know, and I already know, that there's probably some questions. So if you would like to come up to the front and ask your question, if you have one, that we welcome you. Yeah. Okay. Please state your name.
My name is Michael.
Oh, and with the microphone. With the microphone.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Michael. I major in biochemistry, currently tracking on a pre-med to be a doctor, and I'm also interested in joining the military after my undergrad. So I just wanted to ask you a question. How are you able to balance your military career with your personal life and your family?
Thank you, Michael, and congratulations. You sound like to be a young man who has a very bright future, so congrats.
Thank you very much.
Yes. So one thing that I would say, the military has transitioned and talk about, people first, taking care of people. And I think sometimes we ourselves that are serving, we need to remind ourselves that. Because sometimes we're so focused on working that we forget, like, hey, you're human. You need to take a break. So I have always worked on that. I can't tell you I'm the best, but I will tell you that I have a lot of friends who are parents, they are married, they're going to school, and they can somehow balance their life. So it is doable. And if you wanted to join even before you finish college, remember, they help you pay for college and pay for your master's. You can still join, and they will help you. You can join part-time. But like I said, I'm guilty of that, so I would lie, and I would be a hypocrite if I said I do a good job. I keep reminding myself to be better at it, and I try to work at it, but
All right,
I
thank you
could
very
be a
much.
better role model.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michael.
Okay, who's next? Oh, you don't need a mic, okay.
Igualmente.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I've been enlisted for 6 years, Black Hawk helicopter mechanic.
Cool. Yeah.
I commissioned this May, and I'm going to go up to the flight board in October, so you're genuinely living my dream. Soy cubano, pero dominicano criados.
Entiendo, sí.
But I want you to speak more personally on this level when it comes to when you first became the second lieutenant. How were you able to command the trust of your new soldiers? Because as a lieutenant, you hear certain things, you got to earn your stripes per se. It definitely does help out to be
Yeah.
enlisted prior. But with all the obstacles you overcame, how did you truly gain that respect and trust from your soldiers?
So, funny enough, I was enlisted also. I was enlisted for 10 years, and congratulations to you, by the way. That's pretty awesome. Congrats. And we accept all. I mean, she's Cubana too, so we're all one. ¿Verdad? No, but in all seriousness, so I did, obviously, you earn your rank. You earn a second lieutenant rank. I think the advice that I would give you, especially being prior service, is remember that even though we have that knowledge, you're still now a new second lieutenant, so rely on your platoon leaders. Well, you'll be a platoon leader, but rely on your platoon sergeant, because at the end of the day, us officers, we lead, we give guidance, but at the end of the day, I still think the NCO Corps, which is a non-commissioned officer corps, is the backbone of the Army. And I think the best way that you can earn trust is by respecting them, giving them trust, but also when you're wrong, let them tell you that you're wrong, because it will build trust, and that goes a long way. I hope I answered your question. Definitely. De nada, mucho gusto.
It's funny, they're texting me questions. How do you balance your cultural roots with thriving in environments where your heritage might be underrepresented?
If you look, obviously, today I'm not wearing my uniform. I am still in the military, but we have received new guidance, and it's a new administration, so we're working with. But if you look at my nice hair sling, the first thing that you see is the top one. I have my Dominican American flag, because my heart belongs to both nations. I was born in the Dominican Republic. I am very proud of my heritage, but I'm also very proud to be an American who has taken every opportunity to succeed. So again, we have more similarities than we have differences, and I encourage people to try to learn about each other. You'll be surprised what you learn. So again, I am a Dominican American who is proud to serve the U.S. Army.
What's one lesson you've learned from your journey that you think is important for others, particularly from underrepresented communities to hear?
Always remember, no matter what, unfortunately, this is truth, right? Perception sometimes can be reality. So always carry yourself with the utmost respect yourself, with pride. There's nothing wrong with having pride, but always know that you are being seen as a role model. And like I told Dr. Tark earlier, we were talking about something else. I'm like, there's the 1/3 that love you, the 1/3 that really don't like you, and the 2/3 that really don't care. So I would say when you're in that situation where you're the only one at the table and the rest of them don't look like you, just carry yourself with pride and know your trait.
As a current Latina engineer whom was a Marine engineer and was the only Latina in her government civilian company and area, what advice would you give to be an aviator, especially now at 26 with aspirations to be in aviation?
First of all, congratulations to you, young lady. What advice I would give you, follow your dream. I don't know if I said this, but when I went to Mass Maritime, I'm the first one from my family, and I will answer a question. I'm just going back to remind you why it's okay to have setbacks. I'm the first one from my family to receive a graduate degree or a college degree. After my freshman year in college, I actually took a year off because I did not adapt well to the environment. My grades were not very well. They were awful, to be honest with you. And I just couldn't adapt to this paramilitary. So I took a year off. I went off to another school, but I missed the Mass Maritime climate. And I made some amazing friends that were still friends. But I would say to you is keep your eyes on the prize. There will be setbacks, and it is okay to have setbacks. And I keep harping on this, but when you're having those bad days, you have to rely on people who you love and who you trust and who will remind you where you came from, where you are, and what you have to accomplish.
Wonderful. Anybody have any other questions? Jalen? You have to give the whole spiel about who you are, that you're a scholar, and all that.
I'll save the whole spiel. Good evening, everyone. To Lieutenant Colonel, thank you so much for being here today. To you and to all other active members of the military, thank you for your service to our nation. It's really an honor to be here today. I have two questions, one for myself and actually one for my father, who I texted that you were going to be here, and he asked me a question for you. For me, you mentioned that a big part of your background was staying true to your heritage and honoring that. So I wanted to ask you, what are your top 3 things about being Dominican to you? Like, what do you really love about your culture?
That is so easy to do. First of all and foremost is the food. Second and foremost is the awesome music. So no matter what, you cannot be sad. And third and foremost is the awesome weather.
Amazing.
And can I add a fourth one in there?
Yeah.
The ice cold cerveza presidente. That's pretty good too.
I'm under 21, so I don't know anything about that.
That's
but,
for your father. Your father asked that question.
Sure. Yeah. And then my father asked, if you had the opportunity to either fly for another branch or fly another type of aircraft, what would it be?
Ooh, so actually, when I went to fly school, right when I got there, because the Georgia National Guard had multi-aircrafts, and I did have the opportunity to fly the Apache, which is a combat one. I actually chose not to because I really love the mission of the Black Hawk. We do humanitarian mission, firefight, medevac, troop transportation, oversight. So I personally love the Black Hawk. Oh, and then by the way, General Electric made those engines, so I had like both best of the world. If I had to fly another aircraft, if I wasn't claustrophobic, because I am claustrophobic, I have my weaknesses, I would probably fly a fighter jet. But I'm claustrophobic, so.
Thank you so much, Lieutenant Colonel.
Thank you.
I'm like geeking out right now. This is awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and good luck to you with your future.
So wait, is it true that once they assign a pilot, like to one type of aircraft, they typically stay to that aircraft?
So the Air Force tends to do, well, when you say, I'm sorry, so are you meaning like you fly the same aircraft all the time,
Yeah.
or the same model, or the same?
The same aircraft. I don't know. Like they
Okay.
said that they told me this story, like that when they knew that you were coming, they said, "Did you know that when they train to fly, well, one type of aircraft, that they basically are only allowed to fly that one type of aircraft their whole life?" And I was like, that doesn't sound right.
So the answer is, so in the Air Force, you tend to fly your aircraft all the time, so they have your name on it and such. So that's more Air Force, Navy. For the Army, which I can speak to, is yes, you can start with a certain aircraft. We don't fly the same aircraft. I don't have my name on any aircraft, so we don't get that privilege. But you can fly different models of aircraft. So for the Army Reserve, we have the Black Hawk. We have different models of the Black Hawk, which include medical aircrafts. We also have the Chinook, which is a pretty big aircraft with the 2 rotor blades. We also have fixed wing, which is a the C-12 and the UC-35. So you have the opportunity to fly all those aircrafts. And I'm sure that's probably the same with the National Guard. For me, I love the Black Hawk. I just love the aircraft. I love the machine. And I'm pretty happy flying the Black Hawk.
How much is a Black Hawk? How much? Do you know how much how much are they?
Let's see. They start around $24 million.
So could you imagine being responsible for flying a $24 million piece of machinery? That's not stress at all, right? Not stress. Okay, now, all right. I have no more questions. Who else has? Wait, go ahead.
Good evening, Lieutenant Colonel. I'm very proud to see you here.
Thank you for your
One of
service.
my personal experiences was as I went up as well in ranking with the low, not that many MOS
Yeah.
How do you feel your upbringing with a strong woman got you to?
You mean you're more afraid of a chancleta than you are of a drill sergeant? Yes, I understand. And thank you for your service. I always say this, I am so proud of my parents. I keep saying this because I would not be here because if it were not for the sacrifices they made. And if it were not, I remember my dad working 2 to 3 jobs. I remember my mom working 2 jobs. But their biggest advice, and I said it earlier, is you know what? You keep the name. Do not embarrass the name, right? Do not get yourself in trouble. You don't have to go to college. I'm okay if you don't, but at least stay out of trouble. And I think for us, I mean, what a better role model than mom and dad who decided to leave their country where they were living in a comfortable position, to leave the country that they love, to go to a different country where they didn't understand the culture, didn't speak the language, and to not know when they were going to see their parents again. I mean, if you don't call that adversity, then I don't know what it is. So thank you for bringing that up because sometimes when I'm having a hard time, I got to remind myself, hey, they made it through this. And I'm sure that was a lot harder for them, especially being parents and being older. So thank you for the question. And thank you for your service.
Do you want to meet her mom? Yeah, okay. Hold on.
Want me to move?
¿Puedo darte una pregunta a ti? Yeah? Okay. Okay. So I'm going to translate it to inglés. Okay. So what is your favorite memory of your daughter growing up? And what did you feel like when she told you, Mom, I want to go fly a helicopter? Because I know that my Cuban mother, she would have a heart attack if I told her that. Go ahead.
For me?
This is her mom, everybody.
For me? Thank you. For me, I've been so proud about my family, my daughter. I have 4 daughters. God needs one, and he took it out of time. But I had 3 daughters. I don't know what I thank God. I have no word to thank God or time to thank God for a blessing what He gave to me. It's for a blessing, and I appreciate it, and I always be grateful to God. But my daughter, since she was little, she was so strong. When I took her to school, she never went to kindergarten. She never went to first grade. When I took her to college, they put her in the 2nd grade. She always was dedicated, respectful, and grateful, and responsible. Always I had the picture what I have for my little thing, what I have in my hand was the big girl what she was on mind and stronger. That's what I remember of my great daughter. When she told me she go to the army, I'm gonna tell you the history. That is what I say, what she did to me. One day she came with the recruiter, and she said to me, Mommy, I go enjoy to the army. I say, what? You are 16 and a half years old. Who gave you permission to sign for the, oh yes, you're gonna give me the permission now because I want to enjoy to the army. I say, Mija, that's a danger, that's a strong, that's only for men. Mommy, what are you talking about? You are as strong than daddy. How can you tell me that is for men? You teaching me, you and daddy teaching me, be strong. And that's why we are strong, because you and daddy say to me, be strong. And that's what she did to me. When she coming to me, Mommy, now I'm gonna be a pilot. I say, oh my God. Oh my God. She gonna give me a heart attack. She wanna kill me, all this impression. Okay, mija. Dios te bendiga. And go forward.
And that's the story. So it's genetic. That's what I got out of that.
Yes.
Okay. So with that being said, we have, the lieutenant colonel's going to be here for a while. If you have any other questions that you might want to ask, if you want to take pictures, if you want to take pictures with her mom and get her autograph, because apparently you need to be up here too at some point. We're all about familia, so whenever you do, whenever you have anything like this, you're definitely involving them. So I want to thank you. I want to thank the Patterson ROTC. I want to thank the Newark Latin Arts Band. I want to thank you. I want to thank all service members. And I want to encourage all of you who are students to, again, thank the service members in your life. Get involved, learning about these careers and possibly what the military could offer you as well. And be on the lookout for the Dominican Pilots Association on Seton Hall's campus, because they're going to be coming over here as well. And so with that being said, I think we are going to welcome back the Newark Latin Arts Band to play are you
Dr.
going
Tark?
to? Yes.
Can I just
Oh,
leave
yes,
the
I'm
young?
sorry.
It's
Go
okay.
ahead. One more thing.
So Dr. Tark and I talked about this earlier, but I forgot. But I definitely want to leave a message, not only to our next generation, but to everyone, because even if you're a little older, you may want to change your career, and that's okay. But one thing that I want to say is, first and foremost, have fun. You have to have fun at what you do. You got to love what you do. Treat people with dignity and respect, just like we say, don't treat others like you want to be treated. Be the master of your craft. Take the challenging jobs, because sometimes we want to not take those jobs, but guess what? You got here, you can take that job, so take those jobs. And most and foremost, just be grateful and pay it forward.
That's wonderful. And we have... So thank you so much. She came over here post-surgery from Fort Knox, Kentucky. And so thank you very much for coming. Thank you for taking the time out of your day. The Seton Hall women's basketball team also has a signed basketball for you that we're going to be giving you. I know, and they're winning. Did you follow them? Because they really are, and their coach is excellent too. So you should really follow Seton Hall basketball. Okay. So, all right. Well, thank you very much, everybody. In comes the Newark Latin Arts Band. Thank you, Lieutenant Colonel. Ready? Yeah? That's okay. So that's right. So I'm going to give a shameless plug right now. They're going to be opening up our 20th anniversary gala at Cipriani's Wall Street on October 17th, 2025. The tickets are on sale. They are all on to benefit the students through graduate level scholarships. Again, all Seton Hall students are eligible for them. So please, again, make sure to support the Latino Institute and make sure to support the Newark Arts Latin Band, and as well as the Patterson ROTC. I don't know if they're still here, but make sure to give them, a quick shout out online if you can as well. Thank you again to Lieutenant Colonel Marisol Chalas, and thank you all for coming out and for listening to her story. All right, thank you, everybody. Wow.